What's good, y'all? It's Icon here to talk about what I am going to say without a shadow of a doubt the best episode of Arrow so far this season. Wow. So the episode starts where we left it last time, where the kids from the future ended up getting transported to the past after Zoe died. Flash forwards are officially over for a while, or maybe forever, because now Mia, William, and Connor, they're in 2019. So there's the awkward standoff between both sides, and it was weird because when William just broke the barrier. Like William was just like, "Yo, that's my dad," and like he just walked up to him and he hugged him because William had told him earlier that when he wanted to live with his grandparents and Felicity and Oliver let him leave with his grandparents, William actually said, after that I never saw you again. Obviously because he quote unquote died in the crisis. So when William saw him, he hugged him. He was just like, "Yo, that's my pops," and then Oliver was just like, "Oh shit," and then when William said Mia, like Oliver almost looked like, and it's funny because I understand Oliver's surprise because he's like, "Wow, like I just put my daughter in a cabin with my wife. Like I haven't seen my daughter was like this big, like the last time I saw her. Now she's like a fully grown adult, And then Donna and Renee, they were just like, we didn't know that you had a daughter, let alone like a fully grown daughter. And then he was just like, we didn't tell you guys about, Felicity was pregnant and I'm sorry, but the shock was awesome, but it was weird because I'm like, bro, like you've dealt with the Flash, like you and Barry have traveled through time, like you've been on the Wave Rider for Christ's sake, like this shouldn't really surprise you, but no, but yeah, did Diggle almost had a heart attack when Connor called him dad. He was just like, hold up. Diggle was like, hold up. Yeah, so so the two Oliver even tried to hug me and Mia backed off because see, for Mia this is new. I mean, because for everybody else it's kind of like, well, it's not really a surprise. We've been through this. For Mia, it was just like, what the loving F is going on? So I'm pretty sure they explained to her about time travel and all this hoopla. And they're trying to figure out like what to do with them. It's like they're here now. He's like, Oliver's like, those are my kids, and he took Mia back to his house. He was talking to. He was just trying to get to know them, trying to get to figure out what the deal is, what the situation is. They go back to Oliver's house. They end up having a conversation. Mia's still a little defensive. She's just like, I live without my dad, so it's just like, back up, homeboy. William and Oliver have like a nice conversation, and William tells him, he's just like, yeah, like I never saw you again, and he was like, like I'm rich now, just like the Queen family, and then he's like, I'm gay, and then Oliver was like, I know, he was like, we been knew, we just figured you'd tell us when you were ready. So he did a very horrible job of hiding that secret. The new Team Arrow, the future Team Arrow, made a pact to not tell the OG Team Arrow about Zoe's death, especially because Renee was sitting right there, so nobody's gonna say that in front of Renee. So they were just like, listen, we'll solve the situation ourselves. We'll clean up our own mess. Don't tell anybody because they don't need to know all that. So then we fast forward to the hospital. There's this guy, he's in the hospital, he's having like stomach attacks. The doctor that we've seen in pretty much every season of Arrow, who's been tending to Oliver's wounds, it's nice to see her back again, especially in the final season. And they're telling her to come over. They're just like, like we're like these two rich people. They were like, oh, we pay money for this hospital, so we want immediate treatment. And then the dude that she ended up taking a look at had like a bomb in his stomach. And then, he explodes, the hospital explodes, and then we see a picture of Slade Wilson. Now, right out the gate, I automatically assumed that was JJ. I thought Jake, because when the white light came over Connor, he was on top of JJ, like he was whooping JJ's ass. So I assumed like when the light came over him, I thought JJ ended up going to the future with him. Come to find out, no, it's not JJ. It is Grant Wilson. Grant Wilson, who actually in the Legends of Tomorrow episode Star City 2046, I believe it was, he was the one that cut off Oliver's arm and then took over Star City. So he said that Connor ended up saying that Grant Wilson is the person who basically corrupted JJ and trained him to take over the Deathstroke gang. So we find out how how that happened, and I guess it was easy for JJ to fall into the enemy hands because he was mad at John, he was mad at Lila for mostly John because like he never brings up Lila, but he was mad at his parents for not for giving Connor so much love and attention and not giving him any love and attention. He ended up resenting like superheroes and like Mask, and then he went over to the dark side. And he was easily influenced in the dark side. Curtis is back, so that came out of nowhere. It was nice to see Curtis, especially because they showed his picture in like the first episode, but they didn't show him. So he dead on Earth 2 now anyway. So Curtis is back, he's doing good. Like there was no Mr. Terrificism, there were no T-Spears, but he came to see like the future kids. He's like, are these the future kids? And then they end up spilling the beans, and then they told Renee that he's gonna become mayor. So Renee got all excited. He went to gloat, and then Curtis was like, is no one gonna talk about my beard? And then Oliver's like, bro, you got a nice beard. All right, so how are we gonna solve this situation? The kids end up, they're just like, listen, we're just gonna go take a walk. We're gonna let Oliver and Curtis do their thing, and they're gonna head out. What they really went to do, they really went to go search, the Slate connection, because when they saw Grant Wilson on the TV, they thought that was JJ as well, because he said, what did he say? He said that the rich people are the cancer or something. The problem with Star City is the rich. And JJ says that all the time, so they thought it was JJ. And then they ended up going to like this abandoned warehouse to roll up on JJ. The Deathstroke showed up. It ended up, there was a bomb inside. He had planted a bomb inside. Connor even called him JJ like 3 times. It ended up not being JJ because he was like, who the hell? He's like, who the devil is JJ? And then he left. OG Team Arrow showed up because they were tracking the Deathstrokes as well. And Oliver stopped the bomb, and then the OGs and the originals, they all went back to the bunker. Laurel's there now because she came over, and Oliver asked them. He was just like, listen, tell us what's going on. So William and JJ, they got tired of like holding on to the pain of the secrets, and they eventually just told everybody. They were just like, listen, in the future, Zoe died, JJ killed him, and Star City is basically shit. Because there weren't like, because earlier Oliver was talking to Mia, and he was when he was talking to Mia, and he was talking to to William. He was asking them questions about like, how did you guys meet? Were you two did you guys grow up together? And they were like, no. They were just like, well, we didn't meet each other till a few months ago. And then they were just talking about like all this bad stuff. And then Oliver was like, can somebody tell me like one good thing about the future? And then they dropped the news that JJ, evil JJ killed Zoe. So Renee lost it. John went after him. The two of them were outside, and he was just like, John was like, yo, Renee, we got to talk about this. And Renee, he was like, talk about what? Your son killing my daughter? Because he was like, bro, there's nothing we could do about, like, there's nothing to talk about. And he left. JJ went to go talk to John, like he apologized. He was like, I should have told you sooner. And then John was like, tell me now, Connor, what happened? And then that's when he told him. He was like, look, you took me in, you gave me all, he's like, I was a bad kid. You gave me all the love and attention. JJ felt slighted, and that's how he got to the dark side. So John walked off. Oliver was like, damn, like, he's like, yo, we didn't. And I think one of them said, I don't know if it was Dinah or Oliver, somebody or Laurel, somebody basically was like, yo, we didn't save the city, like, we failed, like, we're doing all this shit for nothing, like, we didn't save Jack, and like, people closest to us are dead. And that was very sad. That was very sad to know that they didn't save that they couldn't save the city. So Mia's whole thing was, she was like, look, we got to kill Grant Wilson, because she was like, if we kill him here, he won't grow up to corrupt JJ, and then JJ won't kill Zoe. So that's the plan. Oliver was just like, all right, cool, we'll come up with a plan. And then Mia was like, no, the plan is to go out there and find him and cut his head off. Oliver was like, look, you don't want to do that, especially not without any backup. And then Mia was just like, yo, I don't need backup. I'm gonna go put some respect on my name. And then Oliver got in the way, and then she was like, you're gonna fight me? And then he was like, I'm not gonna fight my daughter. And then she said she said like the absolute dumbest thing a person could possibly say. she looked him dead in the eye. Like she looked him dead in the eye and was like, I was trained by Nissa Al Ghul. And then Oliver looked at her like, bitch, like first of all, Nissa never beat Oliver like ever. Like ever. Two, Oliver was trained by Nissa's dad and Nissa's older sister, and Oliver beat both of them as well. Oliver whooped ass on the entire Al Ghul family. And you gonna have the nerve to come out your mouth and be like, I was trained. Oliver looked at her like, do you not? Like, Oliver's whole thing was just like, so in the future, no one told you who I am. like no one told you that your daddy runs this shit. Like, bitch, no one told you this was the Arrowverse for a reason. So that was funny. That was funny. And like, and I really need someone to someone needs to school her at some point before before this season is over. So Laurel ends up going with with Mia to to look for clues or to look for Slade or whatever. Laurel and Mia have a conversation, and then Laurel was basically just like, yo, like, I wouldn't listen to your dad either because he's a total ass, but she was just like, I'm just with you. She says, I just came with you to see if you were, to see what happens when you get to a point where you're going to kill Grant Wilson. And then she's like, how did you know? She was like, bitch, I'm older than you. Like, I've been through this. I've been a villain. I know that look in your eyes, when you want to kill somebody, because your mom had the same thing. And she was like, my mom tried to kill somebody. She's like, no, she did not try to kill somebody because I talked her out of it. And then she's like, just think about it. She's like, if you're going to kill him, but just make sure it's something that you actually want to do, because it won't make you feel any better. And there's no coming back from that. William and Oliver ended up having a conversation later, and he was just like, listen, when I was a kid, he's like, I gave you a hard time, and my whole thing was, I was mad because I wanted you to try harder. And then Oliver was like, I did try. He was just like, no, but you should have tried harder. He's like, I wanted you to fight harder. He was like, Mia's acting like she don't mess with you, but she really does. And she just wants you to be her dad. She just wants you to show that you care a little bit more, because she hasn't lived with, she doesn't know you. Like, she doesn't know anything about you. Dinah spoke to Renee, and basically she was just like, look, we know what happens in the future. And now that we know what happens in the future, let's bust our ass to try to change it, to make sure it doesn't happen now. So then, they come up with a plan. They come up with a plan to take out the Deathstrokes. Everybody agreed that they're gonna do things differently, because, like Dinah said, Dinah spoke to John. She was like, listen, JJ just told you what happened. You showed him so much love. You pushed your own son away. So change it. She told Oliver, like, change it. Like, she told Laurel, change it. Like, they had like JJ had mentioned the Canaries, and then Dinah, Laurel, they were just like, yo, the Canaries is a good idea. Renee was like, yo, the mayor thing, I become mayor later, that's a good idea. And the three of them were just like, listen, why wait till 2040? Let's start the Canary Network now. I'll run for mayor now. Like, we'll change the future by making the future the current present. So they're like, let's start today. So Team Arrow goes out there. They go to take on the Deathstrokes. They beat up on the Deathstrokes. Mia and Oliver roll up on Grant Wilson. Mia has him down for the count. She's getting ready to kill him. Oliver steps in the way. He's like, yo, I'm not gonna let my daughter become a killer. And then they basically just tied him up and put him in jail. So, Dinah was like, listen, we're going to keep a close eye on him, and we're going to make sure he stays as far away from JJ as humanly possible, to make sure that nothing happens. So that was cool. JJ and, not JJ, I keep calling him JJ. Connor and Diggle, they had a conversation. They patched things up. He was like, yo, we're going to figure it out. He's like, he called him son. They hugged, and they said that they're going to figure it out. Dinah and Laurel, they went to go start on the Canary Network. Renee gave a speech in the Glades to try to run for mayor. Oliver took Mia to his dad's grave, to basically to the old mansion, the old Queen mansion. He took her out back so she could see both. I think that was Amiko's grave, both Amiko's grave and on the dad's grave. And then Oliver was like, look, he was just like, you're my daughter. He was like, I'm gonna train you, I'm gonna teach you everything I know, and we're gonna be a family as best we can. And and that's how we left it. And then in the John and Connor, they were training together and everything. And then at the end, Laurel's coming out of the precinct because she was with Dinah the whole time. And when she came out of the precinct, the monitor was there, and he was like, "Do you want me to save your Earth?" And then she was just like, "Yeah, what do I got to do?" He's like, "I will save your Earth, but only if you betray Oliver Queen." And Laurel's the bad one. So, like, if anyone would, like, so now we got Lila and we got Laurel. Both parties, both situations. Lila's whole thing is she's trying to save her husband. Laurel's trying to save her entire Earth. I don't think Laurel will betray Oliver. I think what Laurel's going to do is she's going to pretend to be on the monitor side, and then at the last second she's going to come through, and she's going to save, she's going to turn on the monitor, and then she's going to save Oliver. But the monitor and Oliver's partnership is basically over. He hasn't asked Oliver to do a mission for him in like 3 episodes. So all it is right now, it's him just trying to find other people because the monitor doesn't trust Oliver Queen. He's like, Oliver Queen will betray me, and I can't have that. So, so awesome episode of Arrow, beautiful episode of Arrow. And the better the episodes get, the more it hurts to see them. So I'm looking forward to the next episode, episode 5, to see where this heads. And like I said, we're almost halfway there. So keep it locked, everybody. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment, like it, or subscribe. And until next time, as always, about this bitch.